Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Empowered to Grow. This is your host, Hanan Basha. I have the beautiful, beautiful friend of mine, Jennifer Lowe, with me today. And Jennifer is the kind of person you want to kind of connect with. Why? Because she is all about freedom, but freedom in a different sense. She works primarily with women, supporting them to understand themselves, understand their relationship with money, how to accept it, how to invest it, and ultimately how to be free. Isn't that what it's all about?
Absolutely.
Yes. So, Jennifer, when I asked you to come on the podcast, and the podcast is Empowered to Grow, what does that mean for you? How does that resonate with you, being empowered to grow?
Ooh, I make sure I grow every day. So for me, growth is very much part of my everyday life. I haven't owned a TV in over 10 years. I live in books by choice. I don't do the growth because that's the only thing there is, or that I'm trying to achieve a goal. I actually enjoy it. I find that the whole mental process, life is a puzzle. So it's really about what's the next step? Where am I going next? What can I do to enhance where I'm going? Where am I going? Most of us don't even know, right? Yeah. So it's finding the path and then making sure you're working out each leg as you take each step forward. Now, of course, I'm talking about it in a more physical way, but really what I'm talking about is this.
And yeah, I love that. And I say that a lot as well, about life being a puzzle. And it's all about figuring out what pieces you already have. And that, again, I speak about it from the perspective of an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. And realizing that you've worked hard to put the majority of those pieces in, rather than just fixate on what's not there. But that would not stop us, or does not hinder our aspirations for growing into bigger puzzles and growing into further spaces and filling up the gaps. And as you said, that is about growth.
There's something that I read from T. Harv Eker recently about, if you keep asking yourself, how do I solve this? I mean, I know that within the realm of manifesting, the how is never yours to know. But yes, if you ask yourself an open-ended question, how can I make this work? Your brain, and you keep asking yourself that without obsessing about finding the answer, just an open-ended how, the answers will show up, because your brain is automatically working on finding the answers. Yes. And the universe is always there to serve you. It will bring you things. It will show you signs. Your job is just to keep your eyes open.
I love that. And yes, that is true. It's being open. So you have empowered yourself and are empowering others to grow. Would you share a bit about your story with us, please?
Yes, absolutely. I never know where to start with this, because it's not a dramatic story. It's just that from where I stood, the stress and the anxiety was so big that it becomes this big giant mass of So basically, it's your classic story of after 20 years, the husband and the wife split. And of course, you never go into, I'm going to speak for myself. I never went into a marriage thinking of the day we're going to fall apart. Yeah. So, right, there's that dependency, both from a security perspective and a money perspective and everything else, on the partner. And all of a sudden, well, I mean, of course, it doesn't happen all of a sudden, it happens over time. The relationship crumbles, but there's part of you that says, I'm married. This is something I'm going to stick to no matter what. But eventually it falls apart. And then you kind of go, okay, what's the next step? Because for 20 years, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I had two kids 9.5 years apart with the same dad. But it was just like I had a kid and then I had another kid. Like I had two separate families from the same family, if I could say that. And I got to a point where when he left, I thought, ooh, what do I have? I have nothing. I have no career. I have no assets. I have no family in town. I have, so it was an enumeration of what I don't have.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, so where do I start? And the desire, the burning desire to find solutions was there. It was just a matter of how can I find these solutions and where am I going to find these solutions from?
Mm-hmm.
And I was a stay-at-home mom. I really, as you said earlier, I loved my freedom. I still love my freedom. And it was important for me to stay there. My daughter was 5 or 6 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I still had to care for her more than for my teenager. So I wanted to be there for her, picking up from school, dropping off from school, and providing for her emotionally. So I had to figure out, what can I do from where I stand now? And I started with education, and my topic of choice was, I have no money, so I'll
learn
go and
about
educate
money.
myself. Exactly. That's my topic of choice. How do I make this work, good Lord? And it led to, the idea was, now I'm serving others, but the idea was never to get there. The idea was really about me and my family. It always starts with the small nucleus.
Yes.
And then it grows into something of service eventually.
That's true. Which is in alignment. My slogan is empowered you empowers others. And Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins always speak of, turning your mess into your message. And I think that's where, in essence, that's where a lot of entrepreneurial ideas stem from. It's because you had to go through something, and it is dramatic from your perspective because this is about your life. You're not concerned about what's happening outside of that bubble right now, but it's about your own survivability and your own wellness one way or another. And then when you're equipped enough and kind of feel empowered enough, that's where you can start resonating that message and say, okay, I can support others going through this. And that's the beautiful thing is by sharing that, others who felt that they're alone in their bubble going through their own ordeal realize that they're not alone, and others have gone through this, and they can find the support in that sense. Yeah. So from where you stand right now, what would you have advised, or what advice would you impart on your 19-year-old self?
Good Lord, don't get married. No. Okay. No, you know what? Sometimes I joke about that, but then I realize it's like the movie Back to the Future. If one thing doesn't happen, the rest that came after vanishes. So, and I love my kids. I am very grateful for my kids. So I can't really say that because then they wouldn't be here. But definitely what I would have done at 19 is set myself, get the education, get the money education from the right sources. And get the money education from the right sources, meaning a mentor, someone who is already where you want to go to, not a coach. A coach will help you only to a certain point. But that said, if it's a coach, make sure that they are as well a mentor, as in that coach that you pick is where you want to be. So definitely mentorship is a huge thing that I would have said, like get the education from a mentor and then set yourself up to win. Put all the odds in your favor.
Yeah, I love that.
Bet on yourself.
Bet on yourself. I think that's not what That's the anti-conditioning that we get. We're conditioned to bet on everyone else and support everyone else, but it's the inward looking and the inward empowerment from that perspective. Yeah. Okay, now from a time capsule perspective, what would you like your 90-year-old self to thank you for?
Honestly, where I stand right now, I'm heading into 50. So 90 is not really that far away, because I have to say that I often fast forward, and because sometimes the work becomes so daunting that you kind of wonder, what is this life about? Mm-hmm. Where are my priorities? And is this worth the chase to money? Is it worth it? Blah, blah, blah. And those are questions that go through my mind as well. But then I fast forward and I see, before I'm 90, I see that when I look behind, I will feel so fulfilled to have helped so many people. Because again, it's not about me. I've managed, I still want to grow. Growing is still a big priority for me, as I said earlier. But and that involves growing me, growing my mindset more, shedding all of my childhood crap, because that's coming up now. Like now, it's telling me, face it, girl, because you can't move forward. But it's also the growth of money, which I've achieved certain levels. I'm very happy with. I'm pretty much financially free, where I work because I want to, not because I have to.
Yes.
And so all of this work now is really about serving others. It really is about servicing and giving back with the idea that this is not right, that people get stuck. Money is simple. It's not that complicated. And if it's done right, it is so easy. Think about it this way. Money is something that is used in all over the world, in all socioeconomic backgrounds. It has to be simple. It's not just for smart people. It's for everybody. So it's there. It's not that complicated. So it's really about giving back, showing that the wheel is simple enough, that there's so much that can come through it, as long as your head is on tight, right?
Yeah. So you're on a stage and you are wrapping up a talk to thousands of women, talking about being empowered to grow. What would be that message, the last message you leave them with?
I love empowering women. There is a quote that I got very recently, and let's see if I can remember it. I can't remember who said it, but it's, when you teach a man, you teach one person. When you teach a woman, you teach a family. And as we know, I definitely love to work with women, right? Women, I had a discussion with my partner not too long ago, maybe a week or two ago, about, well, what happens when, in the caveman days, when the man leaves, and what if the man never returns, and blah, blah, blah. I said, that's when women pool together.
Yeah, that's true.
The man leaves, okay, you're gone. The women will clump together and help each other out. And it's very much, women understand that community aspect and how important and how much weight it carries for us.
Yes. I used to get not criticized, but men would like, why aren't you empowering men? We need empowerment too. And why are you just focusing on women empowerment? I'm like, you know what? When we empower women, women empower everyone around them, because they become at the epicenter of that ripple impact effect. And it's just that. I mean, I'm married and we have a son, and I pass on all of this as I'm learning as well. And they, by default, we're all growing together just because of this, rather than just saying it's, as you said, it's one way or many ways. Well, this has been lovely, Jennifer. Thank you so much. I'm loving this and spot on so many levels. Where can our viewers and listeners find you in virtual space?
Right now, the Facebook group called Create Your Money Mind. Find me on there and get in on it, because I've got a free event coming up as well. So,
oh, that's exciting. Okay, we're going to have the link anyway. Whatever links you passed on to me will be in the show notes and everyone can connect with you. Jennifer, thank you so much. And I'm loving this. I'm getting a lot of ideas, and I'm sure we're going to delve deeper into in the uncharted discussions a bit more in some of the aspects. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
thank you. Thanks, Hanan.
Well, as Jennifer said, it's ultimately about freedom. And that freedom is not necessarily break away from everyone you know and everything you know and walking away. It's actually about empowering yourself to be free where you are, but the way that you want it and the way that you can empower others around you too. Thank you everyone for joining us. I wish you love, abundance, and prosperity. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empowered to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananulbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.